Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with the Deuce, Season 1, Episode 6, review. So, another great episode of the Deuce here this week. Honestly, I found it really entertaining. Things are starting to piece together here. Things are starting to come together, and I'm really liking it. I kind of appreciate the build-up now, right, that we've been seeing, because now we're getting what we're getting now. So yeah, definitely, it's good to kind of wait it out a little bit, right, and kind of wait for the results to happen. And the pace is picking up a little bit here each episode. I think last episode they kind of started it, and now the pace is picking up. So the next two episodes, I think, should be pretty damn good. I have to say, I think they're going to be really good, especially the finale. And I would have to say I think we're going to see a character death. I'm not totally sure who it is. My two best would be Frankie and Bobby, but that's just sort of my guess. Or maybe one of the pimps. I'm not sure. But I think there will be some like that. But of course, you know, that's a little bit down the road, 2 weeks. But yeah, this episode I did enjoy it. And yeah, I thought it was one of the better ones of the season for sure. I think it's better than last week's for sure. So yeah. Anyways, I'll just go over a quick recap. I'm gonna try not to make it that long. But, you know, I always say that and it ends up kind of being long anyways. But, yeah, there's a little bit short of a recap today. And then, you know, get into some of my thoughts, rating, favorite character, stuff like that. And, typical stuff. So, anyways, and I apologize for this one being a day late. But, you know, Walking Dead does start this Sunday. By the way, I'm really excited for that, and I will have reviews for that. I may even make more videos for Walking Dead, so we'll, you know, stay tuned for that. If you're a Walking Dead fan, please subscribe if you're not already. But, so Walking Dead starts this Sunday, and the Deuce is also on Sunday. And so there's a 2-week overlap here with the two shows. And I think they're both at 9, too. They're both at 9 p.m. So, obviously, for me personally, I'm going to be watching Walking Dead. And this one I'm not going to be watching. So, that kind of puts a wrench into things, right? So, that means that the Deuce is going to be moved to Tuesday reviews. And so I guess then the Brave will be moved to Wednesdays. Just be a little bit backed up here with the two shows on Sunday, but that's only for 2 weeks, and then I'll get back to a regular schedule there. So, anyways, let's get into this one. So, the police, this was a huge part of this episode, probably one of the biggest parts, is the police start cracking down on the street prostitution, basically, right? They're taking all the girls into the station now that are on the street, that are working there. And it wasn't just like, you know, the show and prove, right? Like, this is a lot more. Like, they're taking every single girl, you know, whether they have a stamp on their paper or not, really. And they're towing cars that are parked there on the block, including Larry's car. So that was kind of funny there. Not really for him, but I found it kind of funny. And then, of course, you know, Charles or Alston says Merry Christmas or whatever. Christmas came early, so it's kind of funny. And they're also penalizing the pimps, too. Some of them, you know, checking their pockets and, you know, patting them down. And of course we learned that, you know, this is all part of the house cleaning at the end of the year that they do. So this isn't a new thing. But this year we also learned that they're cracking down a little bit harder than usual. They don't usually go this hard. So, yeah, definitely, obviously something's up, and we kind of know what's up, why they're doing it. But, yeah, so we got to see that. So that was definitely cool. And then that also tells us what kind of time we're working with, what kind of time period we're in. So I would say that we're around Christmas time, mid-December, you know, with Alston saying Merry Christmas. You know, Christmas came early and stuff. And it's getting a little colder outside. Everyone's wearing jackets now. So I think, you know, mid-December would be a safe bet, or maybe even like late November, maybe. But yeah, so sort of getting into those winter months there. And again, a thing that rises there is the time skips between episodes. So I'm going to talk about those a little bit later. But yeah, definitely pretty big between these episodes, some of them. This crackdown, you know, obviously doesn't give the girls or the pimps much of a choice right now. They can't really work on the street, you know, anymore. And so this is, you know, I believe someone said this, but I didn't know who exactly, and I didn't know the exact words. So I, you know, kind of paraphrased, I guess. But basically, these girls are either going to these are their words. They're going to the hoe house or the movies. So no more streets, right? Because they're cracking down. So yeah, that's their words. Don't worry. I mean, I'm not using those words, but yeah. So definitely, they basically got two choices now if they want to keep making a living in the industry of prostitution and I guess pornography, and yeah. So not leaving them with much of a choice here. And the sergeant did say that this is going to last till February. So they have a couple months now until they can maybe even get back on the streets there. And by then, maybe things change and they're not even allowed then. So we'll have to see. But definitely a big part of this episode. So then Frankie and Big Mike. This was I like this one. I thought it was a good secondary plot line in this episode. But basically they tail these guys who work for Rudy. That collect money from his machines in their buildings. So, it seems like a regular thing, but Rudy suspects them of stealing from him, right? So that's why, he asked Vincent, I need your, best two guys or whatever to go do this thing for me or help me out with this. And of course, Frankie and Big Mike, white Frankie, of course. I love that, the white and black Frankie thing. That was really funny. That was great. I feel like that was definitely like a George Pelicanos idea there to write that in. I don't know. I just feel like that would be something he would do. But anyways, yeah. So he suspects them of stealing from him. So he sends Frankie and Big Mike to kind of tail him, look into them a little bit, and then eventually their job was to call him so then they can go confront them about it. And yeah, really funny scene here, probably the funniest of the whole episode, where Mike and Frankie go into that DVD store, and Big Mike is fake, he's faking them out, writing something down or whatever on the poster. That was just hilarious. And he reaches just over them to get the card out. So yeah, that was a funny scene there. One of the funniest or the funniest of this episode. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. The Big Mike and Frankie, they have some good chemistry too, to be honest. And another one is where they're at the curb and Frankie's like, all right, go get us a cab or whatever, and Big Mike says, if I do that, we'll be waiting a year or whatever. And then it that wasn't so funny, but the way that Frankie kind of, he looked back at him, he looked up and down, he's like, yeah, you're right. I don't know, just kind of a funny scene there for sure. But yeah, basically what comes out of it is they see these guys skimming, which, basically they're putting some of the cut in their bag, so they are stealing from Rudy. Rudy was right in his suspicion. Yeah, they make it pretty obvious too, and they're looking around, making sure no one's doing it, or no one, is seeing them. Ugh, sorry, is seeing them, and yeah, so then they're stealing all this money. So basically then they call Rudy to come down, and they all go to see the boss of these guys, who basically has this deal with Rudy in place. So, yeah, and this is a kind of a funny scene as well. But basically Rudy comes in, tells them that they're going to count the money tonight instead, and takes all the coin with them. Takes all the coins with them. So yeah, definitely, and the funny part is just kind of him talking to this guy, right? Making him, hand over the coins or whatever. And obviously that kind of tips this guy off to, to see that, Rudy knows, right? He's on to them a little bit. So yeah, definitely, interesting there. And then, Rudy obviously wants to count them and make sure, may confirm that. And yeah, later they find out that that these guys are shorting them about $5,000 a week. I think it's a week, maybe a month, but I think it's a week. After counting all these bags of coins. So yeah, right, definitely interesting. They kind of expose them there. They find it out. And yeah, it should be interesting to see what they do. Rudy says, let's go see this guy at the bank. And we actually never see that scene play out in this episode. So I don't know if maybe that's just going to go to the wayside. Maybe they go to the bank off screen. We don't see that. Or maybe that's going to be a next week's episode. So I'm hoping it's the latter, because I'd like to see what kind of comes of this. What kind of punishment's going to be dished out. But we'll have to see. And maybe I missed something. Maybe Rudy did go and kind of punish them. I don't know. But for me, I personally just don't remember seeing that. And yeah, I thought really good storylines for Mike and Frankie. I mean, Big Mike hasn't had much. Frankie hasn't had much really recently. He had a good couple, pretty, quite a lot of camera time actually, or screen time, sorry. In a couple of the earlier episodes, I think episode 3 and 4. And he had some good seeds in there, but last episode he didn't really have much. So yeah, really great to see both of them, and the chemistry. Like I said, I found it really funny the way they worked together. And I thought that was really great that they kind of involved them in something like this. So that was really good. And then of course we get to Eileen's stuff, right, this episode. So basically she does another movie with Harvey, and Harvey's the filmmaker, or the film artist or whatever. I guess whatever he calls himself. And yeah, seems like she's kind of getting better at it. And Harvey says that she did a pretty good job in the filming and stuff. So yeah, and then we also see that she's developing a little bit of a relationship with him now, right? Obviously, not a romantic one, but kind of building something on a personal level with him, right? More than just she's an actress for his movies sort of thing, right? And that's what she wants. She wants to eventually work with him, and I still don't think he understands that fully, right? He kind of he kind of just sees her as another actress. So yeah, definitely unfortunate. And as the episode goes on, we kind of work through that. So yeah, she works another movie then later on, and gets Laurie to come and be in it with her. Actually, so they need a brunette or something like that. So Candy quickly goes and gets Laurie to come, and that's when Cece comes in. So yeah, this was an interesting scene. I liked it, to be honest. Obviously I don't support Cece, right? But yeah, no, I liked it. He comes in, he demands money from Harvey for using Laurie in his movie, basically. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough scene to watch, right? I mean, they're literally, this girl is standing right there, and they're literally like exchanging money for her, to be in this thing. So I don't know, tough scene. Personally, it just like with Laurie actually like standing right there, it was kind of a little strange, right? But it just shows like what was going on. So anyways, yeah, Cece comes in, and basically they end up having to pay Cece. In the end, they pay him in full or whatever like that. And then Cece, after they give him the money, he's like, now you can roll the motherfucking camera or something like that. So yeah, just being a major dick, right? I mean, he doesn't need all that money from Harvey and the people there for using Laurie for this thing. Laurie agreed to it. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, right, to see Laurie being like kind of owned by Cece. But yeah, that's just another example of it just doesn't stop. These pimps are pretty real about their kind of standards and stuff. So for sure. So then of course afterwards, Eileen asks Harvey if she can work with him behind the camera. So that's sort of the thing here, right? I mean, she wants to go behind the camera instead of be in front of it and be like an actress, right? And yeah, he says the same thing. He says he doesn't have enough money for another worker right now, and that he can't really hire her. He can't, he can't afford to do that, even though he would like to. So yeah, and then he tells her the next film is in a month, but obviously, Eileen's pretty upset about that, because how else is, and she's supposed to make money until then, right? Until a month passes, she's going to need money. So, and obviously she can't go back to the streets, and she doesn't want to either, right? She doesn't want to go back to the streets, even if she could. So yeah, I mean, she's in a tough place. She wants to work with Harvey behind the camera and help with these movies, and yeah, he doesn't he doesn't have room and the money to hire her. So yeah, pretty upsetting, right, for Eileen's point of view. But then a little bit later on in the episode, then Harvey actually comes back to her place, which is kind of weird. I don't know how he figured out where she lived. Then it was never brought up. But yeah, he comes back later and offers her a woman's number who can help her out. She kind of organizes this, and then Eileen would get paid. Something like the street business, but obviously a little bit more professional, right, in somewhere where she goes. So yeah, definitely Harvey's trying to help her out, trying to do as much as he can, and I believe that he just he's not able to hire her. I don't think he's hiding anything or lying to her. I think he's being legitimate with her. I think he definitely cares about her and her well-being. So yeah, nice to see he has some remorse there and some compassion, right? And he's not just kind of a scumbag porno filmer, right, or filmmaker. So yeah, definitely some dynamics there that we're seeing from Harvey, and this was a big episode for him. We saw quite a bit of screen time from him, so this was kind of his first spotlight episode. And I thought, the actor playing him is really great. And yeah, good chemistry there with Eileen as well. So or Maggie Gyllenhaal. So yeah, that was good to see that thing there. But yeah, and that's obviously going to have more of an effect in the next couple episodes, right, with Eileen, seeing where she's going to go, what she actually ends up deciding here. If she goes to this contact of Harvey's, maybe she goes to one of these parlors now. I don't know, we'll have to see. So that's going to be a developing storyline there for sure. So then Vincent and Bobby open up the parlor, right? Or the parlor, right? I guess that's what they are calling it. That's not, the official name for it. But yeah, so they open up the parlor here, and like I predicted last episode that it would be open by this episode. So we skipped about a month, or a little bit more than a month in between episodes here. So they get girls from Rudy's contact there, and the place looks actually pretty well done. I will admit, I didn't picture it looking like that, but it does look pretty good, to be honest. Not, it doesn't, it's nothing like where these girls went, with these guys up to apartments or whatever to have sex, from the streets, right? Definitely, cleaner, a little bit nicer than that for sure. So yeah, basically the Bobby and Vincent, then they go, to these pimps. They offer them a deal to have their girls working in the parlor there. And the pimps, of course, at first, not about it at all, right? They tell them to get the hell out of the barbershop that they're in. So, yeah, they're definitely not on that board at all. But then later, they kind of come back around because, these streets are being cracked down on. And, yeah, they don't really have much choice here. Like I said at the beginning, the options are kind of slowly depleting here. So, yeah, they come back around and they offer some of their best girls to them, and, for the night, or at least I think they said like a week trial or something like that. Rodney, Reggie Love, and Larry. So yeah, definitely kind of an interesting thing there where they come back around. And yeah, so the parlor is slowly becoming the only place for these girls to make a living at. Right? And so we're kind of seeing, right? We're seeing this transformation. If you think about it a little bit deeper, right? We're seeing where this is going to go. And yeah, so, and the whole thing is, that I've kind of been figuring out too, is the police are in on the whole thing. I mean, is this the whole plan? Basically to crack down on these girls and the pimps on the streets so that they're forced into these parlors now. And we have to remember that these parlors are all located in the no-go zone that the police, formed for Alston and Flanagan and all the other officers. So, yeah, right? You're kind of noticing that it's all connecting now, and maybe it all is connected. Maybe that's exactly why they're cracking down on the streets, because, they have personal interest in these buildings, and they're getting paid quite a bit of money to keep it quiet, right? To not, go in there and raid it. And I found this, to be very, very, kind of interesting where I think it was Flanagan who said it, or it may have been Alston, one of the two, and they said no-go zone. Well, no-go means go. I think it was Flanagan, yeah, but, so true, right? I mean, no-go zone, and that's literally where all this prostitution now is moving to and happening. And all these parlors are located, in the no-go zone. So, yeah, right? I mean, it's all connecting now, and you kind of appreciate a little bit more of the background that we've gotten, earlier in the season. So, yeah, I really like the way they're connecting stuff back. Really, yeah, I'm starting to really appreciate, the earlier episodes that I didn't think were that good, but now I'm thinking, wow, this is David Simon, right? You knew that he wouldn't disappoint. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying that part, for sure. And then, of course, at the end, that scumbag sergeant, whatever. I mean, he comes in and asks for a weekly payoff, $500 a week, basically for not coming into the parlor, right? And, Bobby says, I thought we already had a deal, and they do, right, with the cops, but he says, well, not the local cops or whatever, we need money. So, yeah, I mean, he's a dick, right? I mean, but they kind of have to do it, right? There's really no way around it, right? They can't have these guys, storming in and raid the place, so they have to pay him off. So he's smart, I'll give him that. but just, kind of comes off as a dick to us, of course. So, anyways, that's kind of the end of that one there. And yeah, so kind of business is booming. They get these girls from these pimps now, and as we see in the end there, well, with Darlene in there, but we see quite a few guys are coming in, and the business is kind of rolling. So we'll have to see next episode, more of that as well. And then also we see this is just sort of in the middle of the episode, not really pertaining to any certain character, but very important. So Rudy Harvey, a bunch of others from the actual story that we've kind of seen, and I love the way they did this, how they kind of laid them out in the crowd, right, of this courthouse. They didn't show them coming in or whatever, so that was kind of cool. We're kind of building on that sense of that, this is the city, and these are the guys, and we've all met some of them before. Oh, I recognize that guy. It's all just part of the big city, right? So I really like that. But basically, they attend this court trial of that guy at the DVD store. If you remember that was like back in episode 2, I think. And yeah, the judge rules to dismiss the case. No charges are being placed on the guy at the DVD store. So yeah, the laws are kind of changing here, and the judges are kind of leaning one way, and kind of changing their stance on things. So yeah, great news for Rudy, Harvey, and a whole lot of other guys in the business, right? A lot of the men who are now opening these parlors and kind of starting to make these movies and stuff like that. So yeah, everything is slowly pointing to these parlors and the movies and all the pornography stuff, right? All these films, the parlor, stuff like that, where they're paying, and less on the streets and the prostitution and all that. So everything is kind of all connecting back now, and we're kind of seeing how all this is going to happen. And yeah, so I'm just wondering what the next 2 episodes are going to bring. I think they're going to be good, and this episode it's honestly really got me excited for next week. I can't wait, honestly. I'm really excited for it, to see what they have in store. Yeah, I mean, this was a great hour, right, of my time. And that's another thing, right? I mean, these episodes take a long time to watch, but I feel like this one and some of the other ones, really, really worth the time. Like, they are just really great. And the pilot was an hour and a half, but I really enjoyed it. So, anyways, yeah, that just about does it for the recap. Now I get to my rating, overall thoughts, and favorite character for this episode. So, in terms of a rating for this one, I'm going to give it a 4.6 out of 5. So yeah, like I said, I mean, everything connecting back here, and I really enjoy that, right? So I kind of went over some of the main things, but I will mention quite a lot of time skips, episode to episode here, right? I mean, I feel like we've already gone through like 6 months at least, maybe, yeah, honestly, or maybe not that much, but like a few months for sure. And I don't know if I don't know if I'm a big fan of that. I feel like they could have just been telling the story, week to week or whatever like that, like not month to month. As we know, a month has passed since last episode of this one, because Bobby said last episode it'll take about a month for the parlor to be done and open, and now it's so done and open, so we know it's been a month. So yeah, they don't really hint at it much, but it's definitely, you can definitely see it. So I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Not much Abbey or Paul this episode. We actually did see one scene with them where they kind of interacted a little bit, and I liked it. I mean, you get to kind of see that the screen, the writers are kind of just, they wanted to throw them in there, right, for the episode, for for them just to be there, so they kind of wrote that scene for them. I don't know if you guys are thinking that, but I was thinking that the whole time. Like, all right, I mean, they had to write in a scene for them, okay, that's what I thought. But it was an okay scene with them talking. It was kind of strange, I mean, but anyways, yeah, and the whole thing with Paul last episode, I don't really understand what that was all for, because now this episode he gets like 3 minutes max screen time. So, and he got, like, I would say over 20 minutes last episode. So yeah, I don't really get that. I don't really understand why show him that much in last episode and then kind of decrease his character again when they were just starting to build it up. So that's just sort of my angle with that one. The pace is ramping up a little, right? Each episode, I feel like last episode is the start of it. Last episode ramped up a little bit. This is ramping up a little bit. So yeah, I think it's building to a great episode 8. And things are starting to come together, right? Like I said, all these stuff, really appreciating the background that we've gotten and the slow pace earlier in the season for now what we're getting now, right? With all, the no-go zone and the parlors and all that. So yeah, definitely very interesting. And the acting, really great in this episode. I mean, just everyone is doing a fabulous job. I honestly, I can't think of one character who I just was like, well, it wasn't that believable. The actor didn't do a good job, but honestly, I can't. I mean, when I'm watching these episodes, I honestly feel, and I thought of this, when the episode ended, when I watched it today, I said, oh, like I was just watching a show. Like I get fully immersed, and it's an hour long, right? So you get, like, I didn't once, grab my phone, check, how much time was left in the episode or anything. I was just submerged in this episode. So that's a great thing, right? And I don't find that happening to me much, and that's happening. So yeah, and acting contributes, production, just the way the writers and all that, the direction. So yeah, definitely all those things piecing together, and this is such a great show really right now. Favorite character for this one is going to be Bobby Dwyer, and he's actually played by Chris Bauer. I do recognize him. I feel like he's been in, like, a couple things I've seen. Like, he's one of those guys who, like, I've seen before, but I don't really know anything about him. So, yeah, but he's doing a great job as Bobby. I mean, we've really seen the transformation from, him being a construction guy, and he was totally against this idea at first, but now he's kind of slowly, kind of developed into this guy, and it looks like he likes it now, right? He's totally changed. So in the course of about 3 episodes. So yeah, good to see that transformation. Good to see him, not really, taking shit from anyone, right? When they go to see the pimps, that was a good scene for him. I really like that character, and I feel like Chris Bauer's doing a great job with it. And yeah, I really feel sympathy for him too, with the whole stroke thing. That was really well set up as well. So yeah, favorite character. Obviously, he's probably not my favorite character, but I haven't talked about him yet, so I thought I'd, put him up for this episode. But yeah, like when I talk about favorite character, it's something, it's a character that I want to spotlight in that episode, not maybe necessarily my favorite character. Because my favorite character for this show would probably be Vincent every week, right? Or Candy every week. And they're the 2 main characters. But I'm not going to do both of them every week, right? It just gets a little repetitive. So, anyways, yeah, that's that. So, anyways, guys, that'll just about do it for this video. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the recent support on all my videos on the channel. Really, really appreciate it so much. And also, my man, Adam Bryant, he has a channel, and he actually does reviews of TV shows. Mainly TV, I think, but a few movies. And he's been, giving me a lot of love and a lot of support over on his channel, kind of shouting me out here and there, and I just like to shout him out too. So my future channels, if you guys are making it to the end, future channels, please go and check out his channel at least, and see what he has. We do actually have a pretty, we have some of the same shows, but a lot of different ones. So yeah, go check him out if you have the time, and you won't be disappointed. He's a great channel over there. But anyways, yeah, just wanted to do that for him since he's been helping me out a little bit here. So yeah. Anyways, guys, yeah, thanks for watching again, and yeah, we'll see you next week for the Deuce. It'll be on Tuesday, and Walking Dead Sunday. I'm pretty excited. So yeah, this one will just be backed up a day. So anyways, guys, again, like I said, see you next week for the Deuce, Season 1, Episode 7, 2 episodes left in the first season.
Sisters, brothers, and the